Why does this keep happening? Why do we keep letting this happen? Time and time again, big studios keep snatching up properties from all over the world, and they have the balls to say, if this is foreign, it needs to be American. And if it's animated, it needs to be live action. Put Thanos in, old boy. Paint Will Smith blue. You know? It's such a strange, disrespectful trend that's been going on for far too long, if you ask me. Now, I love The Lion King and Mulan. I love Death Note and Dragon Ball. I love The Last Airbender. But as much as I love these properties, I was able to restrain myself. It was hard, but I was always able to keep my big fat mouth shut. But now you've crossed the line. Now you've really gone and pissed me off, you know? When you fiddle with Cowboy Bebop, that's when my lips start flapping. And with the release of this show, I think now is a better time than ever to once again start up the conversation about remakes. With all my heart, I don't think remakes are automatically a bad thing. I think it's important to recognize that without remakes, we'd be missing out on some of the best movies ever made. But I do think there are very specific scenarios that make a remake justifiable. If there's a story that has great potential that hasn't been given its proper justice due to maybe limited technology or lack of skill in the filmmaker, then boom, you get John Carpenter's The Thing. Or if a filmmaker has a unique vision and can bring something new and interesting to the story, making almost more of a reinterpretation than an actual remake, then boom, you got Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria. But if a filmmaker or a studio decides to remake a beloved, timeless piece of media for no reason other than to make some cha-ching, you know what I mean? Then I think that's when we as an audience need to start slamming our foot down a little harder and stop supporting things like this new Netflix Cowboy Bebop.
He did look pretty shocked.
He was shocked, and then he was dead.
There are two types of remakes that frustrate me the very most, and I think we should cut them out of existence as fast as possible. Number one, taking properties from overseas and just control-Ving that shit into America. And number two, taking animated properties and making it live action for literally no reason. Let's start with that one, because me complaining about Bebop is gonna take up the bulk of this video. Earlier, I busted out the word timeless, and I used that to describe something that you shouldn't remake. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing in this world more timeless than good animation. There's CGI in movies from recent years, even this year for God's sake, that might look good now, but in 5-10 years, it's not going to look good anymore because it's going for realism. But if you take great, stylized animation, it will never age. Cowboy Bebop came out 20 years ago. It still looks incredible, and it'll continue to look incredible until the end of time. Lion King came out 27 years ago. It still looks incredible, and it'll continue to look incredible until the sun sucks up this godforsaken planet. So why, may I ask, would anyone in their right mind take something as timeless as Lion King or Cowboy Bebop and remake it in a way that is 100 million times less visually interesting and will probably age like a piece of cheddar cheese on a hot summer sidewalk? Take a look at the sequence for I Just Can't Wait to Be King. It's such a colorful, fun, visually interesting, and clearly very well thought out little musical sequence that's been burned into my memory and the millions of people who love this movie. It's perfect. Now let's cut over to the... Oh, what the fuck? As much as I hate to give this movie any compliments, I have to say the CGI looks great. It looks about as photorealistic as you could possibly get. But I ask again, why? If David Attenborough was talking over this, then fine, great, whatever. But I'm not watching Planet Earth, I'm watching funny little lions sing and dance. So why would you actively decide to make it less visually interesting? I don't understand. Lion King is an especially good example of why this doesn't work, because literally every single character in the movie is an animal. By making it look like a documentary, you're stripping away pretty much all of the fun expressiveness of these characters. The characters are so, and I'm going to use this word very intentionally, animated. Look at Zazu. If I mute all the audio in this clip, you can still infer so much about his personality just by the way he carries himself and expresses. Now look at 2019 Zazu. Take a look. What can you tell me about him? Go on, tell me. Tell me about this character. Yeah, he's a bird, that's it. I'm not exaggerating when I say you could pull any 3-second clip out of this one musical number, and it would guaranteed be more fun to watch than anything in this 2-hour beast. And the exact same thing can be said for Netflix's live-action Cowboy Bebop. John Cho, I love you. I think you're a great actor, and I don't blame you for this show. But why the hell would I choose to watch this?
Jed, a bidet is a toilet that cleans out your asshole.
What?
Over this. It makes no sense. Look at how well communicated and impactful everything is here. You can tell so much about these characters just by the way they move around. Sound familiar? It's about as perfect as you can possibly get for a fight scene. Now take a look at this awkward, clumsy, so clearly choreographed fight from the remake. I hate to be such a negative Nancy, but it's just worse in every possible way, I'm sorry. But throwing the visual side away for a minute, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they decided to remake it because they thought the story could do better justice with new writing. Maybe this Bebop is all style and no substance. Well, let's take a second and just go rewatch that original show real quick and see if it needed a remake.
I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Yep, just like I remembered, Cowboy Bebop is perfect. It may be the tightest, most immaculately well-structured and paced TV shows to ever grace this planet. The Bebop crew was able to tell some of the most exciting, memorable, emotionally impactful stories in the history of television in only 20 short minutes. The show wastes absolutely no time, whereas the remake takes these iconic, perfect stories and just chops them up and restructures them in very strange ways, making them twice as long, and to top it off, makes it ugly as hell. Let's take a little look at how each show introduces the character Faye Valentine to the audience. Here's the original show.
I like those shades, man.
I like everything you got. Looking to make some big bucks? I think you'd fit right in here.
You know the first rule of combat?
Huh?
Shoot them before they shoot you. Quite an elaborate way to get acquainted.
That is a good-ass introduction to a character, if I do say so myself. We as an audience have no idea what's going on here with these goons attacking this random grocery bag machine gun wielding lady. It leaves me very, very interested to know how this lady's story is going to progress, and more importantly, how it's going to overlap with the other characters and transition Faye into the group. If you ask me, it is an excellent hook to introduce us to Faye, and a great way to start an episode. Now let's take a look at how the new one shakes things up.
I was dreaming. It was time to wake up.
Wow, those are some real pretty words there, cowboy. Does that shit work on all the girls?
Can I help you?
Yeah, you can kindly fuck off. It's nothing personal, but your Mark's coming with me.
Look, I don't know what you're trying to pull, but I was here first. He's mine.
The boyfriend. I don't give a shit about him. I'm after her. What?
One, if you don't get that gun off of me, I'm gonna make you eat it. And two, why the hell would anyone care about her? There's no bounty on her.
Oh, I care about her because Ellis Montgomery does. So pack up your bags, princess, because daddy wants you home. No.
Wait.
No.
She's Katarina Montgomery?
She's Katarina Montgomery.
Please, help me. I can't go back there.
I know, but a whole lot of money says otherwise.
Was that better? No, I don't think so. For some reason, instead of giving Faye her own episode, they crammed her into the whole Asimov bounty hunt story of the first episode. And instead of doing really anything to get you interested in her character, they use her to teach you more about and raise the stakes for this character. It's a weird choice to introduce a brand new, very important character and distract the audience away from her by developing a way less vital character through the new character's dialogue. It's a really, really bizarre choice that could have been completely avoided if the writers just copied what they were remaking. Basically, in the original show, Faye has her own thing going on completely independent from Spike and Jet. She's agreed to cheat a game of blackjack in order to get this special poker chip that has very important information hidden on it. She cheats this guy out of winning. He gives her this last token as a cheeky little gift.
A token for his lovely dealer.
She gives the chip to this guy Gordon, and all of her debts go away. Easy peasy. Well, she starts up the game, and who sits down? Well, none other than Spike Spiegel himself. Woo!
He's the one.
Who immediately figures out that she's cheating. He stays out of pure curiosity and gets completely cleaned out.
All but this one chip.
Since he has no idea about Faye's deal with Gordon, he decides to keep the chip as a little souvenir. And he walks off with Faye's best chance of wiping away her millions in debt. I'm not going to explain the whole rest of the episode and how this all plays out, but I'm sure you can tell just by that setup that it sets into motion a very complicated and interesting relationship between Faye and the Bebop crew. Now how about that remake? Like I said earlier, they introduce her in the first episode, and they have her and Spike's school so close together that within a few seconds we already know exactly how it's going to play out and how she's going to fit in with the rest of the gang. It's not necessarily a bad way to introduce a character, but it's just so much less interesting and tight than the original. So then I ask again, and this question keeps coming up, why? The answer's simple, and I'm sure you can guess it. Things like this make a fuck ton of money. Lion King literally made $1 billion, so why wouldn't companies continue making these? But how about them their foreign remakes? These can sometimes work. If they're being made with real artistic integrity and not just for a chunk of change, then it can totally work. Suspiria pops right into my head. Because it's borderline not even a remake like I said earlier. It's a new reinterpretation of an old story that I honestly think works even better than the original. But if you pull a Spike Lee and just remake Oldboy just because,
Father!
then that's when problems start to rise up a little bit. If you have almost nothing new to add, and every change you make is so obviously for the worse, then I ask again. Why? There are even times when the remake itself isn't that bad. In 2018 there was this great Danish film that came out called The Guilty. It's about a 911 operator having to deal with an abduction exclusively from behind a phone. And then, this year in God's year of 2021, Antoine Fuqua teamed up with Netflix to remake it. And it's not bad. I would go as far as to say it is a good movie. But bro, it's not yours. You can't just copy and paste the story and take credit for it, my guy. Basically, shot for shot, line for line, it's the exact same movie as the 2018 Danish movie. I don't know how this kind of thing just slides because the movie is from another country. If I took David Fincher's Zodiac and just recreated it shot for shot, line for line, there would be an outrage. But Netflix can snatch up poor little innocent Danish thriller and nobody bats an eye. I am happy to see that people are getting more and more fed up with this though. Recently the title for the Train to Busan remake was revealed and I don't think I saw a single positive response on Twitter. And that made me very happy. I don't think we'll ever see a time when things aren't being thoughtlessly remade, but hopefully people will start to get more and more sick of it as time goes on. We just need to be a little bit more open to reading, and the landscape of mainstream movies will be infinitely better, I think. And it makes me really happy that we're getting to that point. I mean, look at Squid Game. It's an original Korean story that came out of nowhere, and now it's the single most watched show in the history of Netflix, the biggest streaming service of all time. Whether you like the show or not, you have to admit, that's incredible. So hopefully successful foreign things like that or Parasite will start to convince production companies that it's okay to take risks with original stories. And that's where we have to come in. I beg of you. That sounds so dramatic. Don't watch Cowboy Bebop. Don't go see the latest Disney remake. Or if you do, that's all I'm going to say. Stop supporting projects like this and slowly they'll just start to trickle out of existence and we can all forget about it. Now I want to finish this off and I want to be clear that I'm not making this video to be pretentious. I'm not asking you to go watch Andrei Rublev on repeat while you burn DVDs of The Last Airbender. I just think the film industry would be a much better place if we stopped supporting films that don't respect you. That's all. Thank you. Bye-bye.